If I asked you, where on earth is basketball most popular? I suspect you wouldn't think of the Marshall Islands. In fact, you probably haven't even thought of this as a country. And yet here, in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, there are more basketball nets per capita than anywhere else on earth. Welcome to the Marshall Islands, a nation comprised of hundreds of tiny atolls that, due to their small size, despite having almost no people to speak of, contain some of the most densely populated areas on the planet. Like, for example, here in Ibai, where 15,000 people are crowded onto an island so small it can be completely circled in under an hour on foot. Simply put, it's a ghetto, built next to an American military base entirely so that they can always have access to cheap foreign labor. And as you might imagine, the people who live here are not wealthy. The school system here is so overwhelmed that even those who want to attend can only go for roughly half the week, and without foreign volunteers showing up to teach, it's even less than that. So in practice, as I personally experienced it, there is no second here, not a single inch of this island where you don't see a child standing around bored. They're so bored even that when you pass by the community dump, you'll almost always see a dozen of them playing in the trash. They aren't sifting for goods. This isn't out of poverty. They're just bored. Which I'd argue makes it quite understandable that the people here don't see that much value in getting an education. After all, there's no job that they feel it can provide for them, no future they feel it can protect them from. So what's the point of trying hard if there's nothing there to try for? Hell, why even show up to school at all? Well, I'll tell you why. Basketball. When you walk around Ibai, let's say 5 p.m. just after the school day's finished, if you go 20 meters in literally any direction, without exaggeration, there's a 100% chance you're going to find kids playing basketball. At least some form of it. Because most won't have an actual net. Maybe they'll just have cut up a bucket. Most won't have a ball either. Yet they always seem to find something, like a beach toy, a shoe, a rock. If it can land in that basket, some kid is using it as a ball. It doesn't even have to bounce. And again, without exaggeration, this is what every boy, every evening on every corner of this island is doing, and have been for their entire lives. Which means that statistically, the Marshallese play basketball in greater numbers than anywhere else on Earth, and it's not even close. Yet, it would be safe to say that very few of them know the actual rules. They've probably never even heard the rules. It would be just as safe to say that very few of them have ever seen a professional game, even on TV. Yet whether the average NBA player even knows this country exists, this island exists, this is basketball's truest heart. Ibai Island, the ghetto of the Pacific. There's no question that there's more court per square foot here than any other country anywhere on the planet. It would be virtually impossible to top this, frankly. A professional basketball arena in the United States, the arena itself has less court per square inch than this entire island. Every church ground, every schoolyard, every bit of surface that's flat enough to bounce a shoe. Hell, we even saw them playing in the broken down shell of a house. It's all just a court to these kids. Basketball means everything here. In Ibai, the adults use basketball to make the island a better place. It isn't just paying off and keeping idle hands busy, it is the key to a good education. And not because of a scholarship, it's the thing that gets kids to actually show up to school. Because most of the good courts, the ones you actually want to play on, are the schools. They have the real balls. They set up the tournaments. If these kids want to use a good court, they need to show attendance at school. If they want to play with anything more than a shoe, their teachers need to say it's okay. When I talked to some kids playing in Majuro, they said basketball was honestly the only real reason that they ever showed up to class at all. When I talked to the coach of that American team who set up local tournaments against the kids from across the way, he mentioned just how viciously they played, how violent they were. How when they went up against the bases boys, they pretty much never stopped fouling, as if the game itself had no rules, which I think I was supposed to take to mean that they had a long way to go, that they were still unrefined, but could learn the beauty of the sport if only we taught them. I think I was supposed to understand that the goal of basketball was to learn basketball, to figure out the rules and refine themselves into real ballers, become superstars even. A way to get out of that ghetto. And I understood why he said that. It's no shame in saying it. He's a good man, and to him this is a real sport. That's the beauty he sees in it. But that's not what I took away. What I heard was that the kids of eBay play for fun, not fundamentals. That this isn't America. That they don't see these skills as some road to great wealth. They're just looking for a way to pass the day. And on their courts, if you want the ball, you throw an elbow. You get a little violent. After all, what are America's rules but a way to keep them where they are? Throwing a shoe is better than playing in the trash. And standing there taking all of this in, I realized just how easy it would be to help. What they really want isn't a way out, it's equipment. They want jerseys, shoes, balls, nets, anything that can replace those buckets and rocks. And the coolest thing about being a YouTuber is that I can ask for your help. Before I left that island ghetto, I talked to that American coach one last time. I asked for a way to donate here, and he gave me the email address of the man who runs the only formal basketball camps on eBay, the one thing keeping these kids in school. The man's name is Rebel John, which, everything else aside, is a great name. Kind of a TV name, really. Not the point, focus on the point. I've included his email address in the description below. If you have the means and feel like making someone happier than I think we spoiled mainlanders are even capable of feeling, please send him gear. Jerseys, shoes, nets, balls, anything you can spare, used or not. If your team is upgrading their gear, if your school is getting rid of old jerseys, there is no need to throw that away. I know thousands of children who are just aching for it. And in turn, please understand that you're going to get nothing out of this except for my thanks, out of some smiles that you will never see. Okay, so maybe this is a bit of a throwaway episode, a failure to stick to my own fundamentals, I suppose, but I can honestly say that watching these kids, I felt what makes basketball truly great. It's just fun. So you know what? Elbows high, kids. Elbows high. Right? Yeah! This is rare earth. Perfect. Perfect.